When I speak of demons, I do not refer to mythical creatures or supernatural entities. No, the demons I speak of are far more insidious and prevalent in our daily lives. These demons are the doubts, fears, and limiting beliefs that reside within the minds of others and sometimes even within ourselves. Imagine, if you will, a world where you no longer feel compelled to justify your dreams, your actions, or your very existence to those who cannot or will not understand. This world is not a fantasy, my friends. It is the reality that awaits you when you fully embrace the power of your imagination and recognize your true identity as God in human form. Let us begin by understanding the nature of these demons. They are not separate from the people who harbor them, but rather manifestations of their own limited consciousness. When someone questions your aspirations, doubts your abilities, or attempts to confine you to their narrow view of reality, they are not acting from a place of malice. They are simply projecting their own fears and limitations onto you. But here's the vital truth you must grasp. You are not beholden to their limitations. You are not required to conform to their expectations. And most importantly, you are not obligated to explain yourself to the demons that possess their minds. Consider for a moment the absurdity of explaining the concept of flight to a fish. The fish, bound by its watery domain, cannot fathom the freedom of soaring through the air. Its entire existence is defined by the boundaries of its aquatic world. Would you spend hours attempting to convince the fish of the reality of flight? Of course not. You would recognize the futility of such an endeavor and continue on your journey through the skies. In the same way, when you encounter individuals who are bound by their limited perception of reality, you must resist the urge to explain, justify, or defend your vision. Your time and energy are far too precious to be squandered on such fruitless endeavors. Remember, the world you experience is a reflection of your own consciousness. When you engage in lengthy explanations and justifications, you are inadvertently giving power to the very doubts and limitations you seek to overcome. You are, in essence, breathing life into the demons that you should be banishing from your reality. Instead, I urge you to adopt a new approach, one that aligns with your true nature as a creative force in this universe. When faced with skepticism or doubt from others, simply smile inwardly, knowing that their perception is but a fleeting shadow in the grand tapestry of your manifestation. Understand this fundamental truth. You do not need anyone's permission or understanding to be who you truly are. The only approval you require is that which comes from within, from the God that resides in your own heart and mind. Now you might ask, but Neville, how do I maintain my conviction in the face of constant opposition? The answer, my dear friends, lies in the power of your imagination and the practice of living in the end. Immerse yourself fully in the state of having already achieved your desires. Feel the joy, the satisfaction, and the peace that comes with the realization of your dreams. Live from that state of completion, and you will find that the opinions and judgments of others fade into insignificance. When you truly occupy the state of your wish fulfilled, you no longer feel the need to convince anyone of its reality. You simply are. And in that beingness you radiate a power and certainty that no external force can shake. Consider the great innovators and visionaries throughout history. Did they spend their precious time and energy explaining their ideas to every naysayer and skeptic? No, they held fast to their vision, lived in the end, and allowed their manifestations to speak for themselves. Imagine if Edison had abandoned his pursuit of the light bulb because those around him couldn't comprehend his vision. Envision a world where the Wright brothers gave up on flight because their contemporaries deemed it impossible. The world would be a far darker and more limited place, would it not? You, my friends, are no different from these great innovators. Within you lies the same creative power, the same divine spark that has propelled humanity forward since the dawn of time. The only difference is your willingness to recognize and embody this power. Now let us delve deeper into the practical application of this principle. How do you stop explaining yourself to the demons in people? The first step is awareness. Become acutely conscious of the moments when you feel compelled to justify yourself. Notice the tightness in your chest, the quickening of your breath, the surge of defensive energy that arises when someone questions your path. In these moments, pause. Take a deep breath and remind yourself of your true identity. You are not a mere mortal seeking validation from other mortals. You are the operant power in your universe, the God of your reality temporarily clothed in human form. Instead of launching into an explanation or defense, simply state your truth calmly and confidently. This is who I am. This is what I'm creating. Then release any attachment to their response or understanding. Their acceptance is not required for your vision to manifest. Remember, every moment you spend trying to convince others of your worth or the validity of your dreams is a moment stolen from the actual living of those dreams. It is a diversion from the path of your true purpose. Moreover, by constantly explaining yourself, you are inadvertently affirming a state of lack. You are operating from a position of needing to prove something, which implies that you do not yet possess it. This is in direct opposition to the principle of living in the end. Instead, cultivate an unwavering faith in the reality of your imaginal acts. When you truly know, that your desires are already fulfilled in the spiritual realm, waiting to be made manifest in the physical, you will find that the need to explain yourself naturally falls away. This shift in consciousness will have a profound effect not only on your inner world, but also on your interactions with others. As you cease giving energy to the demons of doubt and limitation, you will notice a change in how people respond to you. Many will be drawn to the quiet confidence and certainty that emanates from your being. They will sense the power of your convictions, even if they cannot fully articulate or understand it. Some may still question or doubt, but you will find that their words no longer have the power to shake your resolve. Their skepticism will be like raindrops falling on a mountain. Noticeable, perhaps, but utterly incapable of moving you from your firmly established position. Now I want to address a common concern that arises when we speak of not explaining ourselves. Some of you may worry that this approach could lead to isolation or a lack of meaningful connections with others. Let me assure you this is not the case. By freeing yourself from the need for external validation, you actually open yourself up to more authentic and powerful relationships. You create space for connections based on mutual respect and shared vision, rather than codependency and the need for constant affirmation. Moreover, as you embody the state of your wish fulfilled, you become a living example of what is possible. Your life itself becomes the explanation that no words could adequately convey. In this way, you inspire others not through persuasion or argument, but through the undeniable evidence of your own transformation. Consider for a moment the great spiritual teachers throughout history. Did they spend their time arguing with skeptics or trying to convince the masses of their wisdom? No. They simply lived their truth, embodied their teachings, and allowed those who were ready to be drawn to their light. You, my dear friends, are called to be such a light in this world, not by preaching or persuading, but by fully embracing and living from the state of your highest self. Now let us address another aspect of this principle, the demons within ourselves. For many of us, the most persistent and convincing demons are not those we encounter in others, but those that reside in our own minds. These internal demons, the voices of self-doubt, unworthiness, and fear, often demand the most elaborate explanations and justifications. We find ourselves engaged in endless internal dialogues, trying to convince ourselves that we are worthy of our desires, that we have what it takes to achieve our dreams. But I say to you, stop explaining yourself to these inner demons as well. Recognize them for what they are, old patterns of thought, outdated beliefs that no longer serve you. They are not your true self, and they have no power over you unless you grant it to them. Instead of arguing with these internal voices, simply acknowledge them and then turn your attention to the truth of your being. Focus on the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Immerse yourself in the reality of desired state. Remember, your subconscious mind does not distinguish between what is vividly imagined and what is experienced in the physical world. By consistently occupying the state of your wish fulfilled, you are literally rearing your brain and reprogramming your subconscious. This practice of persistent assumption of living from the end is far more powerful than any logical argument you could make to yourself or others. It bypasses the critical faculty of your conscious mind and speaks directly to the creative power of your subconscious. As you persist in this practice, you will find that the inner demons begin to lose their voice. The doubts and fears that once seemed so convincing will fade away, replaced by an unshakable knowing of your own divine nature and limitless potential. Now, some of you might be thinking, but Neville, surely there are times when explanation is necessary. What about in our professional lives or in our close relationships? To this, I would say, yes, there are times when clear communication is important. However, there is a vast difference between explaining yourself from a place of confidence and self-assurance and desperately trying to justify your existence or your choices to those who are not receptive. In your professional life, for instance, you may need to articulate your ideas or defend your decisions. But even in these situations, do so from a place of certainty in your own value and the merit of your contributions. Speak your truth clearly and concisely without feeling the need to over-explain or seek approval. In your personal relationships, open and honest communication is indeed vital. But again, this communication should come from a place of self-respect and mutual understanding, not from a desperate need to be understood or accepted. The key is to discern when explanation is truly necessary and when it is simply a habit born of insecurity. Ask yourself, am I sharing information that is genuinely needed, or am I seeking validation? Am I communicating clearly, or am I trying to convince? By releasing the compulsion to explain yourself to the demons in others and in yourself, you free up an enormous amount of mental and emotional energy. This energy can then be redirected towards your true purpose, the full expression of your divine nature and the manifestation of your desires. Imagine the possibilities that open up when you no longer waste time and energy defending your dreams. Think of the creative power you could harness if you redirected all that explanatory effort into simply being and doing. This shift from explaining to embodying is nothing short of revolutionary. It is the difference between talking about your desires and living them. It is the transformation from seeking permission to granting it to yourself. As you embrace this principle, you will find that your entire way of being in the world changes. You move through life with a quiet confidence, an unshakable certainty in your own power and purpose. This energy is magnetic. It draws to you people and opportunities that align with your vision, while naturally repelling those that do not. You become like a lighthouse, standing firm amidst the storms of doubt and skepticism. You need not shout to be heard or flail to be seen. Your very presence becomes a beacon, guiding those who are ready to higher levels of consciousness and achievement. Moreover, as you release the need to explain yourself to others, you also free them from the burden of having to understand or approve of your path. This is an act of profound respect for yourself and for others. You honor their journey, their current level of awareness, without allowing it to limit or define you. In this way, you become a true agent of change in the world, not through forceful persuasion or endless justification, but through the quiet power of your own transformation. As you change yourself, you change the world around you. Remember, the outer world is but a reflection of your inner state. As you cease giving power to the demons of doubt and limitation, both in yourself and in others, you create space for miracles to occur. You allow the natural creative power of the universe to flow through you unimpeded. This, my dear friends, is the true meaning of living from a state of wish fulfilled. It is not merely about visualizing your desires or affirming their reality. It is about becoming the person who already has what you seek. It is about embodying the state of completion and satisfaction, regardless of external circumstances. When you truly grasp and apply this principle, you will find that life becomes an effortless flow of creation and manifestation. The struggle falls away. The need for constant striving and explaining disappears. You simply are, and in that beingness, all that you desire naturally gravitates towards you. So I urge you from this moment forward to make a commitment to yourself. Vow to stop explaining yourself to the demons in people and in yourself. Instead, focus all your energy on living from the state of your wish fulfilled. Be the person you aspire to be. Live as if your desires are already manifest. When doubts arise, whether from others or from within, do not engage them. Do not fight them or try to reason with them. Simply acknowledge their presence and then turn your attention back to the truth of your being. Remember, what you focus on expands. By focusing on your divine nature and the reality of your desires, you give them the power to manifest in your experience. Practice this principle diligently, and you will be amazed at the transformation that occurs in your life. You will find yourself moving through the world with a new sense of ease and grace. Opportunities that once seemed out of reach will present themselves effortlessly. Relationships will deepen and become more authentic. Your creative power will expand exponentially. Most importantly, you will experience a profound sense of freedom. Freedom from the need for external validation. Freedom from the limitations imposed by others' perceptions. Freedom to be fully and unapologetically yourself. This, my friends, is your birthright. This is the truth of who you are. A divine being, temporarily clothed in human form, with the power to create worlds through the focus of your attention and the feeling of your imagination. So go forth from this place with a new resolve. Cease the endless explanations and justifications. Release the need to convince or persuade. Instead, embody the truth of your desires. Live from the state of completion. Be the person you aspire to be here and now. And as you do, watch in awe as the world reshapes itself to match your newfound certainty. Observe as the demons of doubt and limitation fade away, unable to withstand the light of your unwavering faith in yourself. Remember, you are the operant power in your universe. You are the author of your story. You have within you all that you need to create the life you desire. Trust in this power. Believe in your divine nature. And never, ever feel the need to explain yourself to those who cannot yet see the magnificent being that you truly are. The journey you are embarking upon is sacred. It is the journey of self-realization, of remembering your true identity as God individualized. This journey requires no explanation, no justification. It simply requires your unwavering commitment to living from the state of your wish fulfilled. As you practice this principle, you will find that your entire perception of reality begins to shift. The world around you will seem to magically align with your desires. This is not because the external world is changing, but because your consciousness, the lens through which you perceive reality, is transforming. You will begin to see opportunities where once you saw obstacles. You will recognize blessings in what you previously considered setbacks. The people in your life will begin to reflect back to you the certainty and power that you embody. This transformation may not happen overnight. Like any skill, living from the state of wish fulfilled requires process and persistence. There may be moments when you falter, when the old habit of explaining and justifying reasserts itself. In these moments, be gentle with yourself. Simply recognize what's happening. Take a deep breath and return your focus to the truth of your being. Remember, you are not seeking to change or control the external world. You are not trying to convince anyone of anything. Your sole task is to maintain the feeling of your wish fulfilled, to occupy the state of the person you desire to be. As you persist in this practice, you will find that the need to explain yourself naturally falls away. It will no longer occur to you to seek validation or approval from others. You will move through life with a quiet confidence, a deep inner knowing that transcends the need for words. This state of being is your natural birthright. It is the truth of who you are beneath the layers of conditioning and false beliefs. By refusing to explain yourself to the demons in people and in yourself, you are stripping away these layers, revealing the divine essence that has always been there. In this state, manifestation becomes effortless. Your desires come to you not through struggle and strain, but through a natural alignment with the creative forces of the universe. You become a clear channel through which the infinite possibilities of life can express themselves. So I ask you, my dear friends, why waste another moment explaining yourself to those who cannot or will not understand? Why divert your precious energy into justifying your dreams or defending your worth? Instead, channel that energy into being, into feeling, into living as the person who already has all that you desire. This is the most powerful statement you can make, the most convincing argument you can offer. Let your life be your explanation. Let your achievements speak for themselves. Let the radiance of your being be a testament to the power of living from the state of wish fulfilled. As you embrace this way of being, you will notice a profound shift in your relationships. Those who are aligned with your energy and vision will naturally be drawn to you. Those who are not will fall away, creating space for more resonant connections. This is not about isolating yourself or becoming aloof. Rather, it's about allowing your authentic self to shine forth without dimming your light to make others comfortable. It's about creating relationships based on mutual respect and shared vision, rather than codependency and the need for constant validation. Remember, every person you encounter is on their own journey of awakening. Some may be ready to embrace the truths you embody, while others may not. Your task is not to convince or convert, but simply to lead, to live your truth so fully and completely that it becomes a beacon for those who are ready to see it. In your professional life, you may find that opportunities begin to align more closely with your true desires and talents. As you cease explaining and start embodying, you naturally attract situations that resonate with your authentic self. Your work becomes not just a means of earning a living, but a true expression of your divine nature. Even in challenging situations, you will find a new sense of ease and grace. When faced with obstacles or setbacks, instead of launching into explanations or justifications, you will simply return to the feeling of your wish fulfilled. From this state, solutions will present themselves naturally, often in ways you could not have anticipated. This way of being, this refusal to explain yourself to demons, extends to your inner world as well. As you practice living from the state of wish fulfilled, you'll find that the inner critic, the voice of doubt and limitation, begins to lose its power over you. Instead of engaging in endless internal dialogues, trying to convince yourself of your worth or ability, simply return to the feeling of already being, doing or having what you desire. This feeling, this state of completion, is far more powerful than any mental argument you could make. Remember, your subconscious mind does not distinguish between what is vividly imagined and what is physically experienced. By consistently occupying the state of your wish fulfilled, you are literally rewiring your brain, reprogramming your subconscious to align with your desires. This is the true power of imagination, not as a means of escaping reality, but as the very tool by which reality is shaped and molded. Your imagination, infused with feeling and unwavering faith, is the creative force of the universe expressing itself through you. As you deepen your practice of living from the end, you may find that your desires themselves begin to shift and evolve. What once seemed vitally important may fall away, replaced by deeper, more authentic aspirations. This is a natural part of the process of self-realization. You are not merely manifesting specific objects or circumstances. You are uncovering and expressing your true nature as a divine creative being. As you align more fully with this truth, your desires naturally align with your highest good and the highest good of all. This journey of self-discovery and manifestation is not always easy. There will be moments of doubt, times when the old habits of explaining and justifying try to reassert themselves. In these moments, be gentle with yourself. Remember that you are undoing years, perhaps lifetimes, of conditioning. Return always to the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Let this feeling be your guide, your anchor in times of uncertainty. Trust in the wisdom of your divine self, even when your human mind cannot yet see the path forward. Know that every moment you spend in the state of wish fulfilled is a seed planted in the fertile soil of infinite possibility. These seeds will grow and bear fruit in ways you cannot yet imagine. Your task is simply to plant them with unwavering faith and tend to them with consistent attention. As you persist in this practice, you will find that life takes on a magical quality. Synchronicities will abound. The right people, circumstances, and opportunities will appear at precisely the right moments. You will look back on your journey and marvel at the perfection of it all. Even in moments that once seemed like setbacks or failures. This is the promise and the power of living from the state of wish fulfilled. This is what becomes possible when you stop explaining yourself to the demons in people and in yourself. This is the truth of who you are and what you are capable of creating. So I urge you, my dear friends, to make this commitment to yourself. Vow to stop explaining, stop justifying, stop seeking validation from those who cannot yet see the magnificence of your true nature. Instead, devote yourself fully to living from the end, to embodying the state of your wish fulfilled. Let your life be a testament to the power of imagination. Let your achievements speak for themselves. Let the radiance of your being be the only explanation needed for the miracles you create. Remember always that you are not merely human beings having a spiritual experience. You are spiritual beings having a human experience. You are God individualized, the creative power of the universe expressing itself through your unique form. Embrace this truth. Live from this knowing and watch in awe as your world transforms to reflect the divine reality you have always been. The choice is yours in every moment. Will you continue to explain yourself to demons, to give power to doubt and limitation? Or will you step fully into your divine nature, living from the state of wish fulfilled, creating miracles with every breath? I know the power that resides within you. I see the divine light that shines through your human form, and I call upon you now to recognize and embrace this truth for yourself. Go forth from this place transformed. Move through your world with the quiet confidence of one who knows their true nature and power. Be the living embodiment of your desires made manifest. As you do, know that you are fulfilling your highest purpose. You are not just changing your own life. You are elevating the consciousness of the entire world. For as you remember and embody your true divine nature, you create a space for others to do the same. This is the great work we are all called to do. This is the true meaning of our human experience. Not to struggle and strive, not to explain and justify, but to remember, to awaken, to create. You are the author of your story. You are the creator of your reality. You are the God of your universe. Embrace this truth, live from this knowing, and watch in awe as unfold before you. The time for explanation is over. The time for living, for being, for creating is now. Step fully into your power. Embrace your divine nature, and let the magnificence of your being speak for itself. For in truth, no words could ever fully capture the miracle that you are. No explanation could ever do justice to the infinite potential that resides within you. You are beyond explanation, beyond justification. You simply are pure, divine, creative consciousness expressing itself in human form. So go forth, my dear friends, and create. Live, be. The world is waiting for the unique expression of divinity that only you can bring. Trust in your power. Believe in your dreams. And never ever feel the need to explain the miracle of your existence to anyone, least of all to the demons of doubt and limitation. You are here to shine, to create, to transform. You are here to remember your true nature and to help others remember theirs. This is your purpose. This is your calling. This is the truth of who you are. Embrace it fully. Live it completely. And watch as your world transforms to reflect the divine reality you have always been. The time is now. The power is yours. The choice to live from the state of wish fulfilled is always available to you. Make that choice now and in every moment. Let go of the need to explain. Embrace the power to create and step fully into the magnificent divine being that you truly are. Remember, the entire universe is conspiring in your favor. All of creation is waiting to support you in the full expression of your divine nature. Trust in this truth. Live from this knowing. And prepare yourself for miracles beyond your wildest dreams. For you are the miracle. You are the dream made manifest. You are God individualized, expressing itself through your unique form. Embrace this truth. Live from this reality. And watch as your world transforms to reflect the divine being you have always been. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Let this be your first step, the decision to stop explaining yourself to demons and start living as the divine creator you truly are. The path may not always be easy, but I promise you, it will always be worth it. For on this path, you will discover depths of joy, love, and creative power that you never knew existed. You will uncover aspects of yourself that have been waiting lifetimes to be expressed. You will create miracles that will leave you in awe of your own divine nature. So step forward with courage, with faith, with unwavering certainty in your own divine nature. The time for hesitation is over. The time for explanation is past. Now is the time for being, for creating, for living as the God you truly are. Go forth and create miracles. Go forth and live your divine nature. Go forth and be the living embodiment of your wishes fulfilled. For in doing so, you not only transform your own life, but you elevate the consciousness of the entire world. This is your calling. This is your purpose. This is the truth of who you are. Embrace it fully, live completely, and watch as your world transforms to reflect the divine reality you have always been. The power is yours. The choice is yours. The time is now. Step into your greatness. Live from your divinity and never ever feel the need to explain the miracle of your existence to anyone, least of all to the demons of doubt and limitation. For you are beyond explanation. You are beyond justification. You are the infinite, eternal, ever-creating expression of divine consciousness. Embrace this truth, live from this reality, and prepare yourself for a life beyond your wildest dreams. The stage is set. The curtain is rising. It's time for you to step into the spotlight and play the role you were born to play, that of a divine creator manifesting miracles with every breath. The audience is waiting. The universe is watching. It's your time to shine. So shine, my dear friends. Shine with all the brilliance of your divine nature. Shine without explanation, without justification, without doubt or hesitation. Shine as the God you truly are, and watch as your light transforms the world around you. For in the end, It is not our words that change the world. It is our being. It is our embodiment of the truth we seek to create. So be the change you wish to see. Be the miracle you wish to create. Be the God you truly are. And in that being, in that embodiment, you will find all the power, all the peace, all the joy you ever sought. For these things are not external to you. They are the very essence of your divine nature, waiting to be expressed through your human form. So express them fully, live them completely, and never ever dim your light to make others comfortable. For your light is needed in this world. Your unique expression of divinity is vital to the awakening of all. Go forth and shine, my dear friends. Go forth and create. Go forth and be the living embodiment of your wishes fulfilled. For in doing so, you fulfill not only your own destiny, but the destiny of all creation.
I will teach you how to think correctly, not as the world thinks, not as fear thinks, not as reason alone thinks, but as imagination thinks. Pure, undiluted imagination. For thinking correctly is not about reasoning better, but imagining rightly. Man's thoughts, left to drift like leaves in the wind, will lead him down paths of mediocrity, suffering, confusion. But let man assume the power to direct thought consciously, intentionally, and he becomes the master of his fate, the author of his world. We are told in Scripture, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. But this heart is not your flesh, it is your imagination, your subconscious conviction, the secret chamber where thoughts are clothed in feeling and projected into form. You think you are thinking when you worry, when you repeat the facts, when you argue for your limitations. But that is not correct thinking. Correct thinking is disciplined imagination, guided by the assumption of already being that which you desire to be. Let me be perfectly clear. Your outer world is not happening to you. It is happening through you and because of you. The world is your mirror, always reflecting the quality of your thoughts. When you change the content and character of your thoughts, the reflection must change. But if you continue to observe the same outer conditions and think in reaction to them, you only perpetuate their reality. Correct thinking begins when you cease reacting and begin imagining. When you interrupt the cycle of cause and effect and enter the realm of creation. I tell you, the only thing you ever need to change is your concept of self. Not the people around you, not the economy, not the conditions, but yourself. For the world follows you. You are not the product of your circumstances. Your circumstances are the product of your habitual assumptions. The way you think of yourself, the way you feel yourself to be, that is the secret cause, that is the root, and from that root, every branch of experience grows. When I say I will teach you how to think correctly, I mean I will teach you how to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. That is the only correct thought. For every other thought is a lie. You were not born to suffer. You were not meant to chase after crumbs. You are not here to beg. You are the operant power. You are the one who imagines, and therefore the one who creates. But until you become conscious of what you are imagining, until you take hold of the reins of thought, you will continue to live by default, ruled by appearances and tormented by doubt. Thinking correctly is not complicated. It is not a technique you must memorize. It is the natural act of imagining what you desire and assuming its reality. Assume it in the silence of your own soul. Feel its truth as you fall asleep. Carry its mood through your day. Ignore the evidence that contradicts it. That is correct thinking. It is not about the number of affirmations you chant, but about the feeling you cultivate within. If you say, I am rich, but feel poor, you are thinking incorrectly. But if you say nothing and feel abundance, you are thinking correctly. Let us be done with shallow affirmations and empty words. Words alone do nothing. It is the feeling behind the words that makes them alive. What do you believe when no one is watching? What do you assume in the privacy of your inner conversations? That is your real prayer, your real thought, your real act of creation. I ask you, what are you thinking right now? Is it in harmony with your desire or in contradiction? Is it shaped by faith or by fear? Man becomes what he thinks about all day long, but not merely the surface thoughts, No, it is the emotionalized thoughts, the felt thoughts, the ones repeated and believed, that shape his reality. You do not attract what you want. You attract what you are conscious of being. Wanting something is not enough. Longing for change is not enough. You must feel it as done. That is correct thinking. To see the invisible and walk in it. To assume the state of the desired and abide in it. I once knew a man who struggled for years with lack. He worked hard. He tried every method. But nothing changed. Until one day he stopped striving and simply imagined himself wealthy. He saw himself signing large checks, walking into elegant rooms, feeling the confidence of a man with more than enough. He did not argue with reality. He did not wait for permission. He simply assumed, and from that day his world changed. Not because of effort, but because of assumption. You must understand this truth. Imagining creates reality. Not sometimes, not occasionally, but always. There is no exception. What you imagine with feeling is projected outward into form. The delay you perceive is not evidence of failure, but of gestation. Do not uproot the seed because you have not yet seen the fruit. Water it with feeling, feed it with repetition, rest in the assumption. That is the secret of correct thought. Every man lives in a state. That state determines the thoughts he thinks, the feelings he feels, the actions he takes. You cannot think correctly while dwelling in a state of fear or lack. You must move to a new state of consciousness. Enter the state of the fulfilled desire. Assume its perspective, speak from its voice, think from its certainty. This is not pretending, it is creation. Pretending is saying one thing and feeling another. Creation is feeling the truth so deeply that it hardens into fact. What is your desire? Wealth, love, health? It does not matter. All things are possible to him who believes, but belief is not intellectual agreement. Belief is feeling. Belief is the acceptance of the truth of your desire without needing evidence. Belief is living in the end. When you think correctly, you do not ask, how will it happen? You say, it is done. You no longer struggle with doubt because you know the law. You know that the unseen is more real than the seen, for the seen is born of the unseen. Your thoughts are seeds. Each one contains within it the pattern of the harvest. Think correctly and your life becomes a garden of delights. Think incorrectly and it becomes a field of weeds. But you are the gardener. You may pluck out the weeds, you may sow new seeds, and you do so by assumption, by imagination, by disciplined, intentional thought. When I say disciplined, I do not mean rigid or strained, I mean persistent, quiet, steady. You must persist in the assumption, even when the senses deny it, especially when they deny it. That is the test. Will you remain loyal to the unseen? Will you walk by faith, not by sight? Will you think from the end, not toward it? That is what separates the master from the novice. The master knows that the world cannot help but conform to his assumption. You are not a passive observer in life, you are a creator. And the substance of your creation is thought, felt with conviction, repeated with faith, embodied with joy. You need no permission, no approval, no circumstances. All you need is the willingness to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. That is the key. That is the secret. That is correct thinking. You may look at your life now and see lack, delay, failure, but do not judge by appearances. Do not accept what is as the final word. The only truth is the one you accept inwardly. If you can imagine something greater and persist in that imagination, the world will yield to it. You do not fight the old, no, you simply imagine the new. You ignore the noise of doubt and trust the silence of your own inner vision. For God speaks in imagination, and your imagination is God in action. Every time you dwell in the end, you shift your state. Every time you feel the wish fulfilled, you rewrite your destiny. You are not bound by past thoughts. You are free now in this moment to think correctly, to choose the highest assumption, to say, I am what I desire to be. And if you will say it with feeling, believe it with childlike wonder, and rest in it with peace, your world will change. It must. You were never meant to struggle with thought. You were meant to direct it. You were never meant to be at the mercy of conditions. You were meant to create them. And you create by imagining, not by wishing, not by pleading, but by assuming. The assumption, though false, if persisted in, will harden into fact. That is the law. That is correct thinking. Let the world call it delusion. Let them scoff and doubt. Let them cling to logic and probability. You do not need their agreement. You need only your own conviction. For you are the operant power. You are the one who imagines. And therefore you are the one who manifests. So I tell you now, begin this moment to think correctly. Refuse to dwell in what is. Choose instead to dwell in what can be. No, in what already is. Within. Feel it real. Hear it true. Walk as if it were so, and the world will rearrange itself around your conviction. You were told, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. That is not a metaphor. It is a law. Renew your mind by assuming the new man, the new state, the fulfilled version of yourself. Think only from that place. Let every thought reflect the end you have accepted. Let every feeling affirm your new reality. And if you should waver, return to the vision. Return to the end. Return to the truth that your assumption is already fact. I will teach you how to think correctly. And thinking correctly is nothing more than imagining lovingly, feeling deeply, assuming boldly. It is choosing to live in the end, to act from the answer, to speak from the fulfilled desire. Do this and your life will be transformed. Not by force, not by effort, but by law. You are not a beggar. You are not a victim. You are not a servant to fate. You are imagination itself. You are the dreamer in the act of dreaming. Dream wisely. Dream boldly. Dream as one who knows the dream is real. Think as one who knows he creates. Feel as one who knows he already is. And then watch as the world bows to your vision. Watch as the invisible becomes visible. Watch as your assumption becomes your life. For that is the promise. That is the truth. And that is the power of correct thinking. There is no end to what you can do when you begin to think from the right premise. The premise must always be, it is already done. From this one root, all things grow rightly. But when you think from the premise of lack, of waiting, of hoping, you are thinking from the wrong direction and planting seeds that cannot bear the fruit you desire. The law does not respond to need, it responds to assumption. It is not pity that moves creation, but certainty. You must become so inwardly convinced of your desire's reality that the outer world has no choice but to reflect it. Feelings are the secret, and they are shaped entirely by your thoughts. When you imagine correctly, you feel differently. You speak differently. You walk differently. Not because the world has changed, but because your inner state has changed. It is that inner shift, that unseen rearrangement, that precedes all visible change. Most wait for something external to give them permission to feel fulfilled. But when you think correctly, you give yourself that permission now. You bypass the need for evidence. You live in the unseen, confident that it will be seen. No effort, no striving, no manipulation is required. Only faith, only feeling, only persistence. For correct thinking is not a single act, it is a state of being. And states are not changed by wishing, they are changed by assuming, by living from a new attitude, not merely thinking of it. You cannot merely say, I want to be free. You must think from freedom. You must feel what it is like to have already been freed. That subtle shift in feeling is everything. It is the line that divides the old man from the new. You will know you are thinking correctly when you no longer seek confirmation. When the desire to prove fades and the knowing becomes natural. You will walk in a world that has yet to catch up to your vision. And you will not be disturbed, for you know what is coming. It is like a pregnant woman who does not doubt the child simply because she cannot yet see it. She knows. She prepares. She smiles. So too must you prepare for the life you have conceived in imagination. That is correct thinking.
To think correctly is to love your vision so deeply that you protect it from every contrary thought, every fearful whisper, every lingering doubt. You will learn to turn inward the moment resistance arises. You will learn to revise the moment something contradicts your assumption. Revision is one of the highest forms of correct thought. It is not about erasing the past, but about transforming your response to it. You imagine it differently, and in doing so, you change its influence over your present. There is nothing fixed unless you declare it so. You are always free to think again, to assume again, to believe anew. Correct thinking makes you immune to the tyranny of time. You no longer count days. You no longer calculate how long. That question dissolves. For when you feel it real now, time has already served its purpose. You have entered eternity in that moment of assumption. The senses may report otherwise, but you no longer consult them. They are no longer your master, but your servant. You have placed imagination at the center of your being, and it will not betray you. You may find others unable to follow you here. That is fine. This is not the path of the masses. It is the narrow way, the invisible ladder that only you can climb. Those around you may ask, where is it? Where is your success? But you will smile, for you will know it is already within you, already moving toward manifestation, already set in motion by your thought. And you need not convince anyone, for the truth requires no defense. It only requires persistence. Every moment is a chance to begin again. Every breath is an invitation to think correctly. You are not bound by yesterday's mistakes. You are not doomed by a single thought. Even now, you may choose to assume a higher state. Even now, you may inhabit the mind of your ideal self. What would you think if you were already there? How would you speak? How would you carry yourself? Begin there. Begin with the end in mind and live from it. That is not fantasy. That is creation. When you close your eyes and imagine a scene that implies your wish fulfilled and you feel it real, you are building the structure of your future. You may not see the full outline yet, but every repetition strengthens it. Every feeling nourishes it. Soon, it becomes so vivid, so alive, that the outer world bends to accommodate it. The phone rings, the letter arrives, the door opens, and you will know that nothing happened by chance. It was your thought, faithfully felt, that brought it to pass. Do not wait for better conditions. They will never come while you wait. You must make the decision now to think correctly, regardless of appearances. To see the invisible despite the visible, that is faith. That is power. That is freedom. The man who thinks correctly no longer fears the world. He no longer worships logic. He no longer asks permission. He moves with quiet confidence, knowing that all things are subject to his inner world. Do not underestimate the power of a single thought persisted in. A single assumption held faithfully can overturn years of struggle. The moment you claim, I am now what I desire to be, and truly feel it, you set in motion a chain of events that cannot be stopped. Do not look for proof. Do not seek signs. The change has already occurred in the unseen. Your only task now is to remain faithful to that inner vision. Think from it, speak from it, and above all, feel it. There will be temptations. Temptations to look around and say, nothing's changing. But that is the old mind speaking. That is incorrect thinking. The correct thought says, it is done. It is unfolding. It is mine. You will be tempted to adjust your desires to match your current conditions. Resist this. Do not lower your vision to fit the facts. Raise the facts to fit your vision. This is the sacred responsibility of one who knows the law. If ever you feel lost, return to stillness. Return to the silence within. In that silence, imagine again, feel again, choose again. There is no failure unless you stop imagining. There is no defeat unless you abandon the end. As long as you hold the vision, the law must fulfill it. You are not here to predict the path, only to persist in the feeling. The how is not your concern. The end is yours to assume. Leave the means to the law, which knows exactly what is necessary. You are not here to force the outer world, but to impress the inner world. When the inner impression is complete, the outer expression must match it. It is law. Immutable, impersonal, perfect. Your job is not to struggle, but to surrender. To surrender to the assumption that what you desire is already so. And when you surrender in this way, you find that life becomes effortless. People come, opportunities arise, doors open, and you are carried along, not by effort, but by grace. Your thinking creates your world, not your hard work, not your worry, not your logic. Only your thoughts, saturated with feeling and sustained with faith, create the life you experience. If you desire to see something new, you must think something new. You must feel something new. You must imagine more beautifully, more boldly, more freely. The only limitations are those you accept. Correct thinking is freedom. It is the end of striving. It is the end of waiting. It is the end of hoping. It is the beginning of knowing. The beginning of living from the inside out. You no longer ask if it will happen. You no longer ask when. You know it already is. And you feel it so deeply that the outer world cannot help but reflect it. You are the author of your reality, writing with the pen of imagination. Each scene you dwell upon, each feeling you entertain, is another line written in the story of your life. Write with care, write with joy, write with purpose. And if ever the scene displeases you, do not despair. Simply write again, imagine again, choose again. For you are never trapped, you are never stuck, you are never a victim. Unless you imagine yourself to be, you cannot think wrongly and live rightly, nor can you think rightly and live wrongly. Your thoughts are the mold, and life is the clay. What shape shall you give it? That is your power, that is your privilege, that is your divine inheritance. Begin now. Begin with one idea, one thought so pure, so certain, so saturated with belief, that it becomes the foundation of your entire being. Let it be something beautiful. Let it be something bold. Let it challenge every doubt you've ever known, and do not let it go. Nurture it in silence. Carry it with you through the noise. Let it guide your words, your actions, your reactions. Think it again and again, not as a mantra but as a living truth. Let it grow until it is the only truth you know. You will be tested. Yes, life will bring before you every reason to revert, every excuse to surrender the vision. But correct thinking holds firm. It does not fight back. It simply continues to assume the wish fulfilled. It remains loyal to the unseen over the seen. And by its calm, consistent faith, it reshapes what is visible. It remakes your world in its own image. You become, in truth, the Word made flesh. Think of any great change in your life. Did it not begin with a thought, a decision, a moment where you said, enough, this is who I am now? That was correct thinking at work. Perhaps you did not know it then. Perhaps you stumbled into it. But it worked all the same. The law is no respecter of persons. It simply follows assumption. What you assume yourself to be, that you become. Not eventually, but now. And the now you accept becomes the world you encounter. You do not need anyone's permission to begin. You do not need perfect conditions. You do not need to be healed, or qualified, or ready. All you need is a new thought, deeply felt, consistently held. That is the miracle. That is the turning point. You can decide right now to live as the man or woman you have always desired to be. And in doing so, everything begins to change, first within, then without. Others may not see it at first. They may still speak to the old you. That is of no consequence. You are not here to convince them. You are here to convince yourself. And the moment you do, the outer world will follow. People will forget your former self. Circumstances will rearrange. Events will align. And you will walk through a life that feels natural to you, but miraculous to everyone else. There is no struggle in correct thinking. Only persistence. Only return. If you slip, return. If you doubt, return. If you forget, return. There is no condemnation in the law. It waits patiently for your attention, for your faith. And the moment you give it, it moves swiftly. Not always visibly. Not always dramatically. But always faithfully. Always perfectly. Correct thinking requires no drama, no emotion, no outward show. It is quiet. It is still. It is the deep knowing that what you desire is already yours. It is the refusal to argue with appearances. It is the quiet insistence that what is unseen is more real than what is seen. It is the choice, moment by moment, to remain loyal to the end you have chosen. And oh, the joy of living this way. The peace, the power. You no longer chase. You no longer beg. You no longer shrink before circumstance. You create. You allow. You assume. And all the world bends to your assumption. Not because you forced it, but because you believed. And belief is the only force required. Belief, felt as real, is the engine of manifestation. It is the lever that moves the universe. There is nothing too big, too far, too delayed. There is only the question, can you think it? Can you feel it? Can you assume it long enough to become it? That is the only requirement. Not education, not money, not connections. Just belief, sustained and embodied. This is the gift we have all been given. This is the secret, hidden in plain sight. The secret the wise have always known, and the sleeping world has forgotten. Wake up now. Remember who you are. You are the operant power. You are the one who chooses what to think, what to feel, what to become. And with that choice comes all creation. There is no outer power, no fate, no luck, only consciousness, unfolding according to law. If your world displeases you, do not curse it. Change your mind, choose again, assume again, think correctly, and watch the world transform before your eyes. This is not work, this is not effort, this is not toil, this is not toil, this is rest, this is Sabbath, this is creation through stillness, through faith, through inner alignment. And when you live this way, you will be astonished, you will laugh, you will wonder why you ever struggled, why you ever doubted, for the truth will become so clear, so obvious, so undeniable. You are the creator of your world, always were, always will be. Do you desire love? Then think from love. Imagine what it feels like to be cherished, pursued, adored. Let that feeling become your atmosphere. Let it color your thoughts, and then do not seek it outside. Know that it is already yours, and let life catch up. Do you desire wealth? Then assume the mindset of wealth. Think from abundance. Feel the relief of security, the thrill of generosity. Think it, feel it, live it, and you will see the symbols of wealth appear, not as your goal, but as the natural result of your new state. The outer world is simply your mirror. It is always reflecting the image you hold within. Change the image, and the reflection must change. This is law. You need not fix the mirror. You only need to fix the image, and the mirror will do the rest. When you truly grasp this, you will fear nothing. You will no longer be at the mercy of events, people, conditions. You will walk in a world of your own making, and you will bless others, not because they have changed, but because you have. And in your changed perception, they must show up differently. For your world cannot exceed your own consciousness. It can only reflect it. So the question remains, not what do I want, but what am I willing to assume as already true. That is correct thinking. Not desire, but decision. Not wanting but being. Not reaching but receiving. It is the mind that says, I already am, and refuses to argue otherwise. That mind is the master. That mind is the creator. That mind is the doorway to all you desire. Would you like me to continue? And so I say to you now, think correctly, and the world will echo your thoughts in form. You do not need to beg life for scraps, when you have been given the power to imagine. You do not need to bow before circumstances, when you are their cause. Assume the noblest, the boldest, the most beautiful state you can conceive of, and live from it unwaveringly. Let the world do what it will. Let appearances shout their lies. You remain faithful to your inner knowing. You remain anchored in the unseen reality you have chosen, for that is the only reality that matters. This is your secret, your gift, your birthright. You become what you think from now, not someday, not eventually, but now. The moment you dare to assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you create, you make real. And if you will persist in that assumption, no power in heaven or earth can stop its expression. So rise now. Leave behind the old thoughts. Cast off the heavy cloak of doubt. You have learned how to think correctly. Now live it. Trust it. Become it. For in correct thinking lies the key to all transformation, all abundance, all freedom. You are the operant power. There is no one to change but self.
The very fact that you are here in this moment reading these words is not a coincidence. It is what I call divine timing. You see, consciousness is the only reality. And your presence here is a manifestation of your readiness for transformation. Let me tell you about the law that governs all manifestation. It's called the law of assumption, and it works with mathematical precision. The mere fact that you're encountering this message is a seed planted in the garden of your consciousness, waiting to bloom into the most magnificent expression of your desired reality. Now, let me share with you what I mean by big changes. Many of you might think of external circumstances, a new job, a relationship, or material success. But I tell you this, the biggest change, the only change that truly matters, is the change in your consciousness. For when you change your consciousness, the outer world has no choice but to conform to your new assumption. In the book of John, it is written, in the beginning was the Word. This word logos is your consciousness, your awareness of being. And just as you have been drawn to this message by the magnetic pull of your own expanding consciousness, so too will your world reshape itself to match your new understanding. Consider this. Everything in your world, every circumstance, every condition, every person playing a role in your life's drama is nothing more than yourself pushed out. They are all states of consciousness that you have occupied or occupying or will occupy. The fact that you're receiving this message is your higher self signaling that you're ready to step into a new state. Let me share with you what I call the law of divine timing. In the book of Ecclesiastes, it is written, "To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under heaven." Your presence here, your awareness of these words, is that divine timing in action. It is your spiritual awakening calling you to a higher state of consciousness. Now let us understand what preparation truly means in the context of consciousness. Many believe preparation involves external actions, but I tell you this, true preparation is a movement within consciousness. It is the art of assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled before any external evidence appears. In the scripture it is written, "Before they call, I will answer." This is the perfect law in operation. Your desire for change, your readiness for transformation has already been answered. The very fact that you're receiving this message is the answer preceding your call. Let me tell you about the principle of what I call conscious preparation. When you go to sleep at night, do you prepare your bed? Of course you do. You arrange your pillows, you straighten your sheets. Well, I tell you this, just as you prepare your bed for sleep, you must prepare your consciousness for the manifestation of your desires. But remember, this preparation is not about doing, it is about being. It's not about making things happen. It's about assuming the consciousness of it already being done. The scripture says, "Be still and know that I am God." This stillness is not physical stillness, but the stillness of knowing that what you desire is already yours. Now, let me share with you what I call the art of spiritual navigation. Just as a ship's captain must understand the stars to navigate vast oceans, you must understand the signs in your conscience to navigate the waters of manifestation. Your encounter with this message is such a sign, a celestial marker guiding you toward your divine destiny. In the book of Genesis, it is written, "Let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to be for signs." These signs are not external phenomena, but states of consciousness. The very stirring within you that drew you to this message is one such sign. It is your I am consciousness recognizing itself in a higher state. Let us explore what I call the law of conscious recognition. You see, when you truly understand that consciousness is the only reality, you begin to recognize that everything, every person, every circumstance, every event is yourself pushed out. This message you're receiving is not separate from you. It is you speaking to yourself from a higher state of consciousness. Consider this: in your dream at night, every character, every scene, every dialogue is you. You are the author and the actor of your dream. Similarly, in this waking dream we call life, every experience is you, externalized. Your recognition of this truth is the first step toward conscious creation. Now let me tell you about what I call the principle of imminent transformation. When water reaches its boiling point, it doesn't gradually become steam. The transformation is immediate. Similarly, when your consciousness reaches its point of readiness, transformation isn't gradual. It is instantaneous. Your presence here signals that you're approaching this point of transformation. Let us delve deeper into what I call the of mental transformation. In the book of Romans, it is written, "Be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind." This renewal isn't about adding new thoughts to old patterns. It's about completely revising your conception of yourself and your world. You see, when a caterpillar enters its chrysalis, it doesn't simply grow wings. It completely dissolves before reforming as a butterfly. This is the nature of true transformation. The changes coming into your life require similar dissolution of old patterns of thinking, old assumptions about what's possible. Let me share with you what I call the principle of conscious dissolution. Before any great change can manifest in your world, You must be willing to let your old self dissolve completely. The very fact that you're receiving this message indicates your readiness for this dissolution. In the book of Corinthians, it states, "Behold, I show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye." This change in the twinkling of an eye isn't about time, it's about consciousness. When you truly assume a new state, the transformation is instantaneous in consciousness, though it may take time to unfold in the world of Caesar. Now, let me explain what I call the law of spiritual momentum. Just as a boulder rolling downhill gains momentum, once you begin this transformation in consciousness, it creates its own momentum. Your old world must crumble to make way for the new, just as the shell of an egg must crack for the bird to emerge. Let us now understand what I call the law of the divine timing. Many of you might ask, why now? Why this message? Why these changes? I tell you this, in the realm of consciousness, there is no accident, no coincidence. The timing is perfect because your consciousness has decreed it so. In the book of Ecclesiastes, it is written, "He hath made everything beautiful in his time." This is your own wonderful human imagination, your own I am consciousness. Your imagination has orchestrated this perfect moment of recognition, this divine appointment with your higher self. Consider what I call the principle of spiritual readiness. Just as a fruit ripens at its appointed time, your consciousness ripens for specific revelations and transformations at the perfect moment. The very fact that you're receiving this message is evidence of your spiritual ripeness for the changes that are coming. Let me share with you a profound truth about what I call the law of conscious selection. In your garden, you wouldn't plant seeds until the soil is properly prepared. Similarly, Dean Wiggum within you wouldn't bring you to this message until your consciousness was prepared to receive it and act upon it. Now understand what I call the principle of imminent manifestation. When a woman is pregnant, there comes a time when birth is imminent. No amount of denial or resistance can prevent it. Similarly, when transformation has been conceived in consciousness, its manifestation becomes inevitable. The changes coming into your life are like that. They have already been conceived in the womb of your consciousness. Your recognition of this message is the first contraction, signaling that birth is imminent. Let me tell you about what I call the law of the conscious recognition. In the book of Matthew, it is written, "When you see these things, know that it is near, even at the doors." This seeing isn't physical sight, it's spiritual recognition. Your recognition of this message, as significant as your spiritual eye opening to the proximity of your transformation. You see, consciousness follows a pattern of unfoldment that I call the principle of spiritual gestation. Just as a child develops in the womb according to a perfect pattern, your manifestation develops in consciousness according to divine order. This message is a signal that your spiritual gestation is nearing completion. Now let us understand what I call the law of conscious authority. Many of you might feel that changes happen to you, that you are at the mercy of external circumstances. But I tell you this, you are the operant power. You are the one giving life to every circumstance through your consciousness. In the book of Job, it is written, "Thou shalt decree a thing, and it shall be established unto thee." This decree isn't made with your lips, it's made in consciousness. Your presence here receiving this message is itself a decree that you've made in the depths of your being. Consider what I call the principle of divine orchestration. Every event in your life, every circumstance, every encounter is orchestrated by your own wonderful human imagination. There are no accidents in consciousness. Your encounter with this message is a deliberate orchestration of your own higher self. The changes coming into your life aren't random events. They are the perfect unfoldment of your own conscious creation. You see, when water reaches a certain temperature, it doesn't gradually become steam, it transforms instantly. Similarly, consciousness has points of intensity where transformation becomes inevitable. Your presence here marks such a point of intensity. In the book of Revelation, it is written, "Behold, I make all things new." This making new isn't a gradual process. It's an instant assumption of a new state. The very intensity of your recognition of this message as significant is the heat that transforms the water of your old consciousness into the steam of your new state. Now let me share with you what I call the principle of conscious acceleration. When a rocket reaches escape velocity, it breaks free from Earth's gravitational pull. Your consciousness operates similarly. There comes a point when your new assumptions generate enough momentum to break free from old patterns. Consider what I call the law of spiritual velocity. The speed at which your transformation manifests is directly proportional to the intensity of your assumption. The very fact that you're receiving this message with understanding indicates that you've reached the necessary spiritual velocity for transformation. In the book of Isaiah it states, "For as the rain cometh down, and the snow from heaven, and returneth not thither, but watereth the earth, and maketh it bring forth and bud." This is the perfect law of consciousness in operation. Once a new state is assumed, it must produce after its kind. Let me tell you about what I call the principle of divine inevitability. When a seed is planted in fertile soil, its growth is inevitable. Your consciousness is that fertile soil, and this message is the seed of transformation being planted within it. In the Gospel of Thomas, which wasn't included in the Standard Bible, it is written, "When you make the two one, you will become the sons of man." This making the two one is the marriage of your present consciousness with your desired state. And this message is the bridge between them. You see, what I call the principle of spiritual bridging is operating right now. Every word you're receiving is forming a bridge between your current state and the state you're being called to occupy. This isn't mere coincidence, it's staunchest selection at work. Now understand what I call the law of divine timing. Many of you might wonder why this message, why now? But I tell you this, in the realm of consciousness, timing isn't measured by clocks and calendars, but by spiritual readiness. Your presence here is evidence of your readiness. In the book of Ecclesiastes, it states, "He has made everything beautiful in its time." This is your own wonderful human imagination, your own I am consciousness. It has orchestrated this perfect moment of recognition, this divine appointment with your higher self. Consider what I call the principle of conscious convergence. Just as multiple streams converge to form a mighty river, multiple states of consciousness are converging in this moment to create the perfect conditions for your transformation. This message is the point of convergence. Let me share with you what I call the law of spiritual momentum. When a boulder begins rolling downhill, it generates its own momentum. Similarly, once you begin this transformation in consciousness, it creates its own momentum. Your recognition of this message is the initial push that starts the boulder rolling. In the book of Exodus, it is written, "Let them make me a sanctuary, that I may dwell among them." This sanctuary isn't a physical structure, it's a state of consciousness. Your recognition of this message is the beginning of building this sanctuary. You see, what I call the principle of spiritual architectures is at work here. Just as an architect first sees the completed building in his mind, before any physical construction begins, you must see your transformed state in consciousness before it can manifest in your world. Now let me share with you what I call the law of conscious assumption. Many think preparation means taking physical action, but I tell you this, true preparation happens in consciousness. It's the art of assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled before any external evidence appears. In the book of Hebrews it states, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. This substance isn't physical, it's consciousness itself. Your faith in the significance of this message is the substance from which your transformation will be molded. Consider what I call the principle of divine sequence. Just as a flower must first form a bud before it can bloom, your transformation follows a divine sequence. This message is the bud. Your recognition of it as significant is the beginning of its blooming. Let me tell you about what I call the law of spiritual gestation. Just as a child develops in the womb according to a perfect pattern, your transformation develops in consciousness according to divine order. This message marks the beginning of a new gestation period in your consciousness. In the book of Acts, it is written, these that have turned the world upside down are come hither also. This turning upside down isn't physical, it's a complete revolution in consciousness. Your encounter with this message marks the beginning of your conscious revolution. You see, what I call the principle of spiritual inversion is operating here. Just as a photographic negative must be inverted to produce a positive image, your current state must be inverted to manifest your desired state. This message is the catalyst for this inversion. Now let me share with you what I call the law of conscious precipitation. Just as water vapor must reach a certain point of saturation before it can precipitate as rain, your consciousness must reach a point of saturation with your desired state before it can manifest. This message is accelerating your conscious saturation. In the book of Joel it states, I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh. This pouring out isn't something external. It's overflow of your own consciousness when it reaches the point of saturation. Your presence here, receiving this message, indicates that you're approaching this point. Consider what I call the principle of divine acceleration. When a rocket approaches escape velocity, it must burn more fuel. Similarly, as you approach your point of transformation, you need more spiritual fuel. This message is that fuel, intensifying your conscious acceleration. Let me tell you about what I call a law of spiritual criticality. Just as water must reach a critical temperature to become steam, consciousness must reach a critical state for transformation to occur. Your recognition of this message as significant indicates you're approaching this critical state. In the book of Daniel, it is written, and they that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament. This shining isn't physical light. It's the crystallization of your new state in consciousness. Your presence here marks the beginning of this crystallization. You see, what I call the principle of spiritual solidification is at work here. Just as a solution must reach supersaturation before crystals can form, your consciousness must reach a point of supersaturation with your desired state before it can crystallize into reality. This message is catalyzing this supersaturation. Now, understand what I call the law of conscious momentum. Many believe change requires constant effort, but I tell you this, once consciousness reaches a certain velocity, it generates its own momentum. Your recognition of this message indicates you've reached this critical velocity. In the book of Isaiah, it states, for as the rain cometh down and returneth not void. This isn't speaking of physical rain. It's speaking of the rain of consciousness. Once your consciousness is saturated with a new state, it must manifest just as rain must fall from saturated clouds. Consider what I call the principle of divine multiplication. Just as a tiny seed contains within it the pattern for an entire forest, your current recognition contains within it the pattern for your complete transformation. This message is that seed being planted in the fertile soil of your consciousness. Let me share with you what I call the law of spiritual chain reaction. Just as one atomic reaction can trigger a cascade of reactions, one shift in consciousness can trigger a cascade of transformations. Your encounter with this message is initiating this spiritual chain reaction. Let me share with you one final law, what I call the law of conscious culmination. In the book of Revelation, it is written, "Behold, I stand at the door and knock." This door isn't physical. It's the door of your consciousness. And this message is that knock, calling you to open to your transformation. You see, your presence here isn't just another moment in time. It's what I call the point of divine convergence. Everything in your life has been leading to this moment of recognition. Every experience, every challenge, every triumph has prepared your consciousness for this transformation. Now let me give you what I call the 3 commands of conscious creation that you must follow as you move forward from this moment. First, be still and know. Your external world will try to contradict your new assumption. Signs of change may not be immediately visible, but in consciousness the work is done. You must remain faithful to your new state, regardless of appearances. Second, let it be done unto you. Don't try to make things happen. Don't force. Don't strain. Your only task is to maintain the assumption that what you desire is already yours. The how, the when, the where, these belong to God, which is your own wonderful human imagination. Third, go and tell no man. This isn't about keeping secrets. It's about maintaining the integrity of your conscious creation. Don't dissipate your creative energy by seeking validation from others. Live from your new state quietly, naturally, as though it has always been so. Remember, the changes coming into your life aren't random events. They're the natural outpicturing of your expanding consciousness. This message isn't just information, it's transformation. It's not just words, it's the voice of your own divinity calling you to a higher state. Your presence here, your recognition of these words as significant, is itself the evidence that you're ready. The changes aren't coming, they're here. The transformation isn't approaching, it's occurring now in your consciousness, where all creation begins. So I say to you, the sign you've been waiting for isn't coming. It's here. The preparation you need isn't in the future, it's now. The state you're meant to occupy isn't distant, it's immediate. For consciousness is the only reality, and in consciousness, all things are eternally present. Take this moment now to feel the naturalness of your transformed state. Feel the reality of it. Feel the completeness of it. For in consciousness, it is already done. And now I tell you this, sleep tonight in the assumption that everything I've told you is true. Not because I said it, but because you recognized it in the depths of your own being. Let this be the night that divides your life into before and after. For when you truly understand that consciousness is the only reality, you'll know that this message wasn't sent to you. It was sent from you, from the you that you're about to become. The door is open. The time is now. The change is here. For that is the law, and that is the promise.